Alrighty, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Smudcast number 612, Defending the Bad Indiana Jones Movies. It's been a while since I've ever watched one of these things, but in my childhood I did enjoy the Indiana Jones films, even the second one, which I guess people didn't like. I thought it was pretty cool, but then again, you're a kid, you watch all kinds of great films from the 80s, you just sort of have a great time, whatever you're watching. They're all great films. So here we go. This came
Except
out...
for Crystal Skull.
Christmas. I don't remember that one. Sorry. there was like Tremors. There was like Gremlins. There was Chucky. There's all kinds of weird films out there. Yeah.
Oh, Tremors is so underrated.
Yeah.
People.
All right.
I was introduced to it by a friend.
Okay. So this is a 4-year-old movie. Came out in June 2018. Has about 230,000 views. And it's done by a guy named Daniel Netzel. And my brain kept going to like Nazgul, the Lord of the Rings reference. I kept calling him Nazgul.
Nazgul? Oh, God.
Yeah, I don't know why. Just like
for me, it was Schnitzel, but yeah.
Daniel Schnitzel.
Kinda.
I see Net, I see
know.
Zell, and I'm like, my brain just goes weird.
It does have something to do with nets, but I'm not
Schnitzel.
sure exactly what.
Yeah, I don't know. Something combination with those letters just make my brain go, did I read that sound right? Exactly. Anyway.
Just the ancestors were net makers.
Who knows? Anyway, this video is about 12 minutes long. It's probably not going to be all full of commentary, depending on how well he puts together his video. They do a lot of cuts, a lot of ads, perhaps. Who knows? But I think this is a good topic of conversation. There's plenty of films out there for us to appreciate. They're coming up with a 5th Indiana Jones film, which is strange, to put it lightly.
Yes.
I don't want to see it outside of the train.
You don't want time travel Indiana Jones, where the young Indiana Jones sacrifices himself to save the old Indiana Jones, which is basically suicide?
No, I don't want to see that. Now that you put it that way, no, I do not want to see that. But I want to see the spectacle. I want to see what the hell they do, because if the 4th one was any indication, I think the what is it? The pipe has run dry. The well is done.
And that was in 2006, wasn't it?
It was a long time ago, and I loved the first 3 films. I thought they were fantastic. They were fun to watch for different reasons. So for them to do a 4th one was okay, cool, but wow, that's CGI. That car chase scene, and then the truck scene, and there's all these scenes. It's just like, what? That does not compute. It's not.
Well, you don't like Shia LaBeouf like hanging on those trees with the monkeys.
The monkeys swinging with vines outrunning the cars. No, I don't like that.
Just like Tarzan.
And he's a fencer. He's fencing. It's like, oh my god, this is silly.
Mm-hmm.
Felt like a video game level.
Like, somehow, like they released the news that they're gonna have like an explanation why Shia LaBeouf is not part of this movie anymore.
Oh yeah, what happened to his son? Yeah, who knows? Who cares? Doesn't matter.
He's dead.
Time travel, timey-wimey, who knows?
People are following him.
No. Well, they're gonna have a car chase scene. They're gonna have a truck scene. They're gonna have a scene where you shoot someone or what. It's like all the cliches you expect.
But does George Lucas or Steven Spielberg have anything to do with this movie?
The new one. They should, because it's kind of their baby.
I do know that like George Lucas, I think like he didn't do anything creatively with the new one.
Oh. Yeah, didn't Kathleen Kennedy have full authority over this one as some consolation for I don't know what, because she has not had any repercussions to herself?
But that was her first job, pretty much. Like she was like the coffee woman for Spielberg.
Should have stayed the coffee woman. Why did she get promoted to anything relevant when
she was like a temporary secretary?
Coffee?
How does this
took over the company
somehow?
Because like she was the last person alive.
Is that like the last?
How much?
I was curious. If you're the last person in the room and there's no one else, hey, we have this big task to do this giant project. What do we do? No one else is here. No one else wants to do it. Hey, secretary, do you got anyone in the room? It's like, no. Well, how about you? Like, do what?
That's on George Lucas, by the way, because like I specifically remember like an interview where George Lucas decided that like Katie should be like taking over Lucasfilm from him after he retired from like there, because like he gave away his position after he got rid of like his funds and like his ownership over Lucasfilm and all those other things, and it's well, it's gonna haunt him forever.
So he gave it to the manipulative coffee bitch.
Well, I don't know. I guess that coffee was really good.
She must have had I believe creativity going for that.
If she was the coffee woman, if she was the coffee girl, that means she has time to talk with everyone, which means she can get all the gossip, all the dirty little secrets of everyone by playing nice with everyone, which means she knows about all the skeletons in everyone's closets.
Well, that's taking a negative side. I would argue that if you're constantly in the room with all these bigwigs and you're listening in and you're helping them out, you're the gopher. You're nobody. You're just like, okay, I'll get you this, I'll get you that. And
from what other people have led through who worked with her lately, she's horrible to work with. She's just completely authoritarian. Everybody must do exactly what she wants. She is narcissism central.
Okay, well, if association is all it takes, then it's who you know, and she happens to be working as a secretary or whatever, and you just keep helping. You're like, I'll help after hours, I'll help do this. Oh, you're a great hard worker. We like you. You're around. You're doing whatever we need.
You're giving us coffee.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. You're a gopher, and people see that and see that as a hard worker, and you're not technically part of the staff in terms of like being a key grip or a tech guy. You're just like you're part of the management team, but you're not management. So they see you and they go, hey, you've been here for 10 years or whatever. You can now help out with the papers and sign the paper with your name, and now you're part of us. Now, it sounds like that's how she just sort of worked her way up and stayed with all the conversations and knew all the people and knew how to get things going. So, but what do we know?
You have such an unconspiratorial, nice, friendly worldview. It's
not friendly.
It's uplifting.
It's just association. It's just you're there in the room when stuff happens and people trust you. So
yeah, so you get random reputation points for nothing.
For being there, yeah, pretty much.
Everybody believes you're doing something, otherwise you wouldn't be there. Well, actually, you don't do anything. But everybody believes you must be doing something important for these other people, and everybody has the same false idea. Well, and then you get to be CEO or something.
There are some secretaries that know a lot what's going on in the business, and they can help people out whenever someone's lost or they don't know where someone is. They have to get a hold of resources. Like they'll know because they are at the front desk. And they see everything. They have the switchboard, they have email, they have the phone going. So they're the one that is sort of the head of, not the head of the company, but the head of customer relations. So they're sort of aware of everything. I guess if you're in an office building, it's different. You're up top, you're dealing with a bunch of other executives, but you're still organizing them. So you're the one with a day planner, you're the one with the schedule and the meeting notes, and you're making sure everyone's getting along, everyone's moving. And that's important because you need to have those people that keep things orderly, keep things on time, and that's pretty much a manager at that point, even if it's just for the office. So you could use those skills into managing projects, you can use those skills into managing people. It's like an HR, PR, management position as you go. But not everyone does that. Some secretaries just jump and become secretaries elsewhere. That's all they do. But that's all speculation. Let's not talk about that. That's kind of boring anyway. 12 minutes. Here we go. Squarespace. All right. Let's make a website.
Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video.
Film Ride R.
The Indiana Jones movies have sort of a weird reputation. Raiders of the Lost Ark is thought of as one of the greatest films ever made.
Really?
The Last Crusade is often thought of in much a similar way, with many fans even preferring it to Raiders. But whether you're looking at the critics or...
mainly Sean Connery.
Yeah, I like the films, but they're not the greatest films ever made.
They are very goofy movies. Like, the action is definitely good to go for like any contender of like a good movie, but like otherwise it's... When you see like how fucked up and funky the logic is for some of the things that like Indy does in the movie, it's just it falls apart. But it's a very enjoyable experience.
Sure.
I have saw Raiders of the Lost Ark last December. It was on TV. I was visiting, and it's definitely holds up. I think like Temple of Doom had the issue that it was like so dark as a kid that I really felt uncomfortable. Just
I
like
didn't
looking,
understand
especially
everything.
like the scene where the guy tears out his heart. It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
like,
So I love that stuff.
maybe it's not for a 6-year-old kid.
Yeah, it felt
But my
like
dad
I
decided
would
like, hey,
agree.
let's watch something. Like,
I would
okay.
agree. Despite some comedic scenes in that, like all of them have all of these movies have deliberate comedic scenes, but they fit into the world. They're believable enough to not be cartoonish.
Oh, absolutely.
But they are definitely comedy in these movies.
They feel like a 70s, 80s flick that's corny and silly, but blown up. Like, because that's what you would read in like a comic book about some secret temple in some African part of the world. And it's just like, oh, there's some magic involved and some cult involved. And okay, what do? They sacrifice people. Oh, wow, that's cool. And they have some animatronic heart beating, and that's cool. That's like, it's not real, but it's like, oh, they did it, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, you can't really get that experience from anything else, and it's really just continuing like George Lucas and Steven Spielberg's childhood when they were watching those serials from the 30s and 40s, like Flash Gordon.
They're fun.
Those kind of things. Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah, and my absolute favorite scene in all of this from the comedy scenes of Indiana Jones is in these, and one of the things I love is all of these movies have this little opening adventure that in the first movie is just to set up Indy as a character, but it remains throughout that there's always the opening adventure, and that's what these movies always need, I think, and this whole genre. My favorite one of those is that in this not casino but sophisticated nightclub thing. It's basically a James Bond scene.
The second movie's intro?
I think so.
Yeah. That's the one. Yeah, in China, I think.
Yeah, and it's absolutely beautiful with the poison and being with being poisoned, and then all this the hilarious fight scene. And James Bond movies, they also had hilarious fight scenes because it wasn't the big martial arts stuff. It was just be creative with the environment because you're just a human like everyone else in the scene.
I do like they use the kid from Goonies whose name was Data, like that was his name in the show, and he had all the gadgets, like he had slick shoes and all these like a punch a boxing glove pop out of his jacket like as a weapon, and he was in the second film, and his name was Short Round.
Short Round, yes.
Like, these bizarre, like it's the same characters. I kept thinking he's going to have like some gadgets pulling out of his. Like this is such a film for kids, and I was trying to get like that sort of overlay, but like Goonies, Indiana Jones, like that sort of stuff is really 80s-ish, and it's not to be taken seriously. It's not to be taken as like, oh, this is this great, wonderful, amazing, brilliant epic. It's a fun adventure. That yes, it has some violence, but the violence is always either direct in one scene, or it's like, oh, they're never gonna kill Indy. That's not gonna happen. He'll get cut up and whatever, but he's never gonna die. So you're always sure about that.
But I will agree, because I would have said that myself, because I had trouble understanding Temple of Doom when I was a kid, because there are some more difficult things that are very show don't tell. Like when Indiana Jones is corrupted, brainwashed.
Oh yeah,
and the scenes are played out, and it works when you're older and you're attentive enough. When you're a kid, it can be a bit confusing, like some other parts, like how are these things connected, and yeah. But other than that, I'd say it's a great movie.
Yeah, there's so many scenes that are exotic and weird, like chilled monkeys' brains.
Yes.
The cult leader screaming "Kalima, Kalima!" He pulls out the guy's heart. Like it's so over the top, good, funny stuff that you sort of go, okay, yeah. There's no way this. What do you call those carts they were in that elaborate roller coaster ride of a shot? It's so like, okay, yeah, this is for fun. This could be made into like a ride at Disneyland if they wanted to. So
it's a creative minecart chase.
It's so fun. It's like if kids were allowed to make a film, what would they do?
And then you get the water rushing through the mountain as well. It's like it's everything.
Oh yeah, it's great.
And believe it or not, it was Indiana Jones that sparked my childhood obsession and dream about archaeology.
Cool.
Which is what it should do. Like it's of course, archaeology doesn't work like Indiana Jones, but I love all this ancient ruins where you find the secrets of people that you don't know anything about and puzzle it out. It's amazing.
And it's all happening during World War II or around that time. Mm-hmm. And you're always fighting the Nazis. They're going to find the secret first. Oh, there's also some treasure hunters as well. Oh, there's some natives.
And that brought me to the game Fates of Atlantis, which could have been perfectly a movie.
It was a good game, yeah.
Yeah. That could have been a great fourth movie. And Fates of Atlantis is what brought me as a kid to ask my parents, can we go to Creta and Rhodos and visit the ruins? And that led to our first out-of-country vacation.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I wanted to run around the ruins all the time. My mother just wanted to get burned at the beach.
Oh.
Didn't understand why I wanted to see those ruins. I could have stayed at the ruins all the time. I didn't want to go to the beach. I wanted the tour with the guy telling us all these awesome things about the ancient Greeks and all. And my parents went into that.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, let's keep going. I think it's going to be a good video, so yeah.
Or the Dunn's Temple of Doom and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull are usually ranked as the lowest in the franchise, with some refusing to even acknowledge their existence. Now, I'm not going to pretend that these movies are without their flaws, but I think that they're both largely great entries into the Indiana Jones canon that don't deserve nearly as much hate as they tend to get, particularly Temple of Doom, which I think is every bit as good as Raiders or The Last Crusade. One of the main things that people seem to forget about the franchise is that they were always designed as B-movies. They weren't trying to create something on par with Cecil B. DeMille or David Lean. They were trying to match the style and the tone of the 1930s Saturday morning serials, complete with over-the-top action, campy dialogue, and the cliché villains.
That might have been your arm, Mr. Bennett.
They had no idea how acclaimed or influential Raiders would go on to become, inspiring a new mold of action hero with humor and vulnerability that stood in stark contrast to other action heroes of the 1980s, or that this cheesy form of escapist entertainment would one day completely dominate the box office. They just wanted to make a tribute to the fun action movies of their youth, but with a technical prowess yet unseen in the genre. And it did the trick. General audiences in 1981 had never seen anything like it before. It became the highest grossing film of that year and even earned 8 Academy Award nominations, taking home 4 wins as well as 1 additional Special Achievement Award for its sound design. All in all, not bad for a B-movie. The same could not be said for Temple of Doom, however. Score. It still turned a considerable profit and still took home an Oscar for visual effects, but critics and fans alike felt that it didn't live up to the hype. Where was Marion, or Sala, or Marcus? Why was it all so dark and violent, and what was with all of the racial stereotyping? First off, I'm honestly shocked by how many...
Fuck you, that's the fun stuff. Even today, when you make any scene involving Germans, it will either be with lederhosen or something Nazis. Come on. You still do it today. You just don't admit it.
Those are the only 2 things in Germany, by the way. There's nothing else. It's all just the desert and all of those things that you have. It's just Nazi buildings, yeah.
The desert is in the east.
It's
literally figs and sand.
Before the Nazis, Germany was pretty much like Atlantis. Like it was below the sea, and suddenly it just raised back.
Oh no, that's the Neverlands.
That's where we see this man, like an animatronic man in lederhosen with like bratwurst and like pretzels, and he's holding them up as he comes out of the water.
Look, there are several German. There are several German stereotypes that we either make fun of or absolutely despise, and nobody's exploiting that.
Yeah.
Nobody's making fun of the Saxons for their stupid dialect. Like, please, you do us all a favor if you did.
Well, you can make fun of Canadian beer all you want, but you can't make fun of European or German or Austrian beer. It just doesn't work.
No, not beer. Not the beer. Like, you could display the German beer magic that I told you about, where we do the quantum dance. But you could bring in Saxons that just speak in this even sillier Saxon dialect where every vowel is an umlaut. It's just horrible.
Would you say it's a sexy dialect?
No, it's a Saxon. No, the women are kind of sexy, but the problem is they speak with a Saxony dialect. So it's like the on the character creator the pretty is the perk, but you have to buy a detriment, and that's the Saxony dialect. That just sounds like someone like what's a really dumb American accent?
Like a southern,
maybe one of the southern accents.
redneck,
Alabama accent. I think that's what people regard like really dumb sounding. But
imagine,
it's like Temple of Doom was like really dark because that's when George Lucas had his divorce from Marcia Lucas, so he was letting out all his anger in the form of a movie.
Oh, poor George.
And then he started eating salad. I think that's when he started getting fat with all those empty carbs.
all that olive oil and lettuce. Oh no!
But like the amount of salad.
He just kept eating.
I still remember that interview with David Lynch. And then he took me to that place, and all they served is salad. And then he showed me a Wookiee.
You wanted him to direct. Yeah, that was the thing. He wanted to let others direct his films.
Yeah, he wanted David Lynch to direct Return of the Jedi. Oh my god!
Can you imagine how awesome that
would have been an experience?
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, well, as a director, David Lynch is pretty eclectic, but he would probably make it really like on point and crazy and weird and like where's all the we need more aliens over here. Why is everyone a robot? That doesn't make George, what is with this script? Like, he's just going to throw this script out and do his own thing.
David's brain would just melt down. Like George Lucas's nonsense is too much for him.
Oh yeah,
that says a lot.
Anyway, yeah, that would be
you just tell Lynch, make the opposite of Dune.
Yeah, like coming off Dune, he'd be do like the second or third or the fifth or sixth Star Wars film. Like, imagine how he would do that. Just out like crazy murder sprees and people with knives killing each other and like, whoa. Maybe not, David.
Nah, the Sarlacc pit scene would have been a bit more expletive.
Oh god, yeah. He would have designed it a lot better. Yeah. A lot bigger. All right, anyway, we're not even talking about the video, so let's keep going.
People seem to miss the fact that Temple of Doom is a prequel, set 1 year before the events of Raiders.
Yeah, the Shanghai
George
scene.
Lucas
That's
explained
awesome.
the reason being that they didn't want to use the Nazis again, and they wanted to follow a similar formula as Bond with a different leading lady in every picture. So setting the film before Raiders took care of all of that, and allowed it to become its own entry in the Adventures of Indiana Jones, which was always the intention for the franchise. It wasn't like Star Wars with a grand overarching narrative, it was supposed to feel like the weekly serials of the 1930s, with our hero going on many different adventures. As far as it being too dark or too violent, that's actually one of my favorite things about Temple of Doom. I think it's such a bold choice that makes this chapter feel completely unique to the other films in the series, and something you would never expect from a franchise like this today. In a world where every sequel tries to capitalize on the success of the first film by falling into fan service, I think it's great that they took such a unique direction for the film. It does get dark with black magic and child slavery and ritual sacrifice, but that only creates a more triumphant final act. And
it's not as if the world today down there is any different.
Well, it's not as
child labor is based. Like
you know how you get your
how can you say no to that?
You know how you get your cobalt for your iPhones and Tesla batteries?
Oh dear.
But I like the blood of little black children. Wait, I shouldn't say that.
It's 5 to 8 year olds. They're basically of working age.
The blood makes the phones value more. Like,
there's more iron in it. Yeah, okay, that's enough. Jesus.
It is terrible, and like funnily enough, I think the situation got worse after this movie was released.
Yeah, unfortunately. It's not just cobalt, it's sulfur, it's any precious metal.
The coal.
It's everything, yeah.
Sadly. Yeah, but the more rare stuff is in abundance in those areas. That's why.
Yeah.
The families are digging beneath their houses for it to improve their income.
Hey, Copperal, thanks for the 2. Can I join? I'm ripping off Temple with my 7th book. Oh, geez. Well, I think we're okay with the chat. I don't want to add any more. We're going to be here for a while because we're just talking about our childhoods most of the time. So, but yeah, we'll have you on for another time. That's no problem.
Yeah. I what I like about Temple of Doom is so much detail in the set design, in the costumes, so many background actors. That is what I find amazing. That is so much more than in the other movies.
Yeah, I think the scene with the carts, I think, is a bit over the top, but that sort of adds to the B movie aesthetic that the guy was referring to.
Oh yeah, but that's an action scene. It doesn't have so many.
Donkey Kong,
but
yeah.
But the scenes we just saw here in the big hall and with the children hacking away, and in the village with the entire village running along. There's so many scenes with masses of people in this movie that all are doing something.
Yeah,
that's what I find astounding in this one.
And the idea of being like a Bond film where there's always a new leading lady. You can see Indiana Jones as like a smart, more civilian Bond character, where he's not.
He's getting around.
Yeah, he knows how to pilot. He knows how to drive a whatever motorcycle. He knows how to shoot. That whip is like magnets. It's like you just throw that whip on anything. It's a magnet, and then you pull it apart. It's no problem. Like all that sort of unbelievable stuff he can do that Bond can do. So it's like a MacGyver-esque civilian smart approach to the Bond genre or the action genre with adventure.
And just by the way, detail that I'm just noticing. This is a really perfect frame here because in the background you see this light bulb with its yellow color, and that is you have the lighting for the scene in the scene because it gives the background a different color and it also frames the scene whilst showing this here the tunnel is going on in that direction, and I really like that how that is crafted.
I'm trying to wrap my head around being like one of the best films of all time. It's certainly one of the most silliest, entertaining, big budget films of all time. The same way you would think of like a James Bond film, or like you don't take James Bond films, at least the older ones, too seriously, and especially with Roger Moore, they're not that style of drama. They are goofy at times, sometimes ridiculous, and sometimes brutal. So there's all these flavors of Bond, and you sort of get that as I said before in Indiana Jones, just in a very more magical way, because there is actual magic in Indiana Jones, whereas Bond is all technology and well, there's some black magic nonsense with the when they're on the New Orleans, and that black dude's blowing up like a balloon. It's like, okay, that's not physically possible. He explodes. It's like, oh, that's.
Have I repressed that memory? Which movie was that?
I think it was the one with the lady who played the medicine woman lead, had her own series. What was her name? Oh, geez. She was a Minuet. She played a character called Minuet, and she had cards, and she was predicting that she was going to fall in love, and there's death and all these other things happening, and everyone wanted to keep her because she could predict the future. So, but it was all in New Orleans.
I think I completely forgot that. So about 10 years ago, I watched all the Bond movies from start to however many were out. It was the crack era, and like every week I watched one because it's just so much. And the first ones, especially today, from what we know so much, so crass film today, that these old ones, these first Bond movies, many of them, they drag out so much because they're very grounded, and will try to do this old school realistic storytelling, and that takes time. But that also means that from today's point of view, that's very boring.
Oh,
while back in the day, those were top of the art super action movies that you should be warned that you might get a heart attack if you watch it. And today's just like, eh.
Yeah, this was Solitaire, not Minuet. This was Solitaire and Live and Let Die, and there was Dr. Kananga and some other dude as the main villains, and they were doing a bunch of weird ritualistic suicide or murders as well. But yeah, all the people with the face masks during Carnival, fun stuff. Like it was on. I must have seen that film at least 4 or 5 times every other summer. It was always on City TV, which is our Toronto-based local channel, at least in the 90s. So that was always playing. There's a few others, but that I don't know why they got that one licensed so many times. Anyway, goofy stuff.
Frankly, the final 40 minutes or so of Temple of Doom are arguably the best in the franchise. The liberation of the slaves, the conveyor belt fight with the voodoo doll, the minecart chase sequence, the rope bridge, pure Indiana Jones action at its absolute finest.
This was a really good scene.
Absolutely iconic.
I can see how people would be irritated by Willie Scott.
They probably would just CGI the shit out of this scene. They would let something like this happen nowadays.
How did they actually do that? Because some of those falling people look like they're actually people and not just dolls.
Miniatures, miniatures. I don't know. It's hard to say. Lots of dust for sure.
They move very, very realistically.
Good stuff. It's awesome. Like all these scenes, like everything leads to more action, different scene, different technique. Like the minecart was awesome. I remember the plane. Was that the same film or a different film? Same film where they're running out of fuel. And he's like, okay, odometer, He's checking all the checks. And it's like, oh, fuel gauge.
Yeah, it is the same movie. It's Temple of Doom.
Yeah. Yeah, everything started with Indiana Jones. That's where we get all of our action-adventure schlock in our video games with Uncharted. So, yeah, it's a classic.
Frank, you imagine being in her shoes? This pampered club singer is all of a sudden taken to the jungles of India with every sort of creepy, crawly, slithering creature you could imagine. I think we'd all be terrified and uncomfortable having to go through what she does. But I can see how some wish it was toned down at least just a little bit for the audience's sake, but the hate for Short Round never made any sense to me. He's a great sidekick. He always has Indy's back, he can hold his own in a fight, and he can be absolutely...
Oh no, I don't think anyone had a problem with the kid, really. It was the woman. It's just the lady was just so annoyingly shocked in every single scene. And how she screamed, it was my ears were bleeding. I don't know if they were purposely picking an actress.
She was horribly dumb.
It's just I understand her reaction is genuine for those scenes, but it's just it was too much.
Mm-hmm. I've never heard anyone complain about Short Round.
No, never in my life. I think
never heard.
Kid was so exceptionally good for a child actor for a role like that, because most of the kids are really annoying to see in the movie, and I think he just nailed it.
Yeah,
Perfect choice.
Even had that really thick accent, and it's he's a kid, totally fine. We didn't mind it. worked out.
There was like a cute picture, like the kid now is like in his 50s probably, and he recently managed to meet with Harrison Ford, and they had a hug.
That's nice. Yeah, I also, probably because I'm not in those circles, but I've never heard about complaints about racist depictions. What he mentioned earlier while he was showing that rich Indian guy.
Yeah,
I don't know about these so world open, culture loving, open borders types, but they don't seem to know much about other countries, other cultures at all, because there are some really nice, interesting channels that have like a bunch of tribal people from the rural areas, from like one from this village, one in the south, one from this village in the west, where even there are completely different cultures, completely different dresses and customs. And I get them on a little YouTube channel. It's a React channel, and they show them like, here's a concert of Rammstein, or here is the story of the monument to the unknown soldier, and they see all these things for the first time. For them, our culture is the foreign culture, and it's really interesting to see and hear their very unique takes that are sometimes a little bit different from each other, because they come from different regions in India, in Pakistan, in Mongolia, wherever, and their dresses, their makeup that is common in their little cultural pockets. Like, what is the bloody problem? Would these people that complain about stereotypical racist depictions complain about those people looking like they do every day as being racist stereotypes? It seems to me like that. Like, you can't show people from other cultures actually looking authentic as themselves. That bothers me.
I do remember who's that actor who is, I think, also in a Bond film. He was definitely in the first Dune game, the full motion video. His name is John Rhys Davies, I believe. And he was not in Raiders. Sorry, he was not in Temple of Doom. I think he was in Raiders of the Lost Ark, as well as Last Crusade. And he always has that sort of foreign Arabic / Indian.
It's the Fez. It's the guy with the Fez.
The guy with the Fez. Yeah. You just
familiar Fez. He's gonna return in the newest one.
Oh boy!
He looks really old.
Yeah, I know. He's Gimli in Lord of the Rings. Like we see him all throughout film and video games. Like,
wait, that's the same actor.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I remember him from Dune because he was so memorable as the adjutant, or not the adjutant, the dude with he drinks the juice of Sappho, and he talks really quickly.
The Lynch movie?
Not in the Lynch film. This is in the video game, the first Dune game.
Oh, okay.
And he's the guy, the helper dude for the Atreides, if you play Atreides. So it's like he's in so many things. It's like, I remember that guy, but he fits so well in that sort of Indian desert-like environment for some reason. So I just like him in that. Anyway.
You say to stand against the wall. I listen what you say. Not my fault. Not my fault.
One of the biggest criticisms of the film was its offensive portrayal of Indians, but I always thought that was an unfair criticism. The whole point is that this is a cult that has taken over the Indian royalty. The Maharaja of Pankot was brainwashed, just like most of his other followers, and even Indiana Jones himself at one point. The whole reason Indy is there in the first place is to help to retrieve the Sankara stones that were stolen from a local village, and to rescue the children who were taken prisoner. Meaning that this black magic cult isn't supposed to represent the whole of the country, but a small, corrupted minority.
Yeah, but who's actually saying this? I really want to know. Like, oh, is they depict? It's like,
there are some people. Like it's not as dumb as like a recent take I have read about Hayao Miyazaki.
Yeah.
Because like he claims, like the dude behind those anime movies, he claims that Lord of the Rings is actually about white supremacy. The orcs are African and Asian people.
What, Miyazaki said that?
Yes.
Yeah, but this
No.
because like American movies tend to
Just
like
trolling?
be very violent, and this is like what it's inducing.
Yeah, but this is like thinking that there's some underground satanic cult in America that do ritual suicides. It's the same level of crazy.
Yeah.
So,
I don't see the problem with that accusation because, we know that all Germans are Nazis because there have been a few Nazis at some point, and with their weird ritual, occult, Thule organization nonsense religion. So everyone's that's accepted fact in the world, especially on the left wing.
yeah.
So why wouldn't this be true?
Because the nature of these films, and when you were in the 80s, as I was, and I'm an old boy, you sort of have a good time, don't taking things seriously, and this could have been done in Japan, this could have been done in South Africa. We wouldn't say, oh yeah, all Japanese or have some mysticism or whatever. It's like, no, not really. No, they have their religions and their practices, and this is obviously exaggerated in a very strange, like volcanic temple, weird suicide cult thing. So yeah, you could do that in Shintoism. You could do that with all kinds of different religions and blow it up and make it a cool comic book movie. That's all it is. It's fun. It's pulpy. It's silly. So anyone taking this seriously this is what we talk about, people who take film school. They think, oh, this is the real way of looking at film with the serious lens. It's like, no, not really.
Sacrificial cults have been a thing all over the world in every culture.
Yeah, it's
in Africa still today. We had it in Nordic culture, in Celtic culture, the stuff that was to the east of that. Native Americans likely had that. All this Mesoamerican nonsense around the Aztecs and Olmecs.
Yeah, it's this lens that people just use in the most ridiculous way. I don't know if you guys remember Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson was a football player, a baseball player, and there was this Nike commercial. He was sponsoring it, right? It's like Bo knows. That was the thing. Bo knows this. Bo knows that. And I guess a guy using this lens would say, well, this is a serious black man who's risen up and taken charge of his whatever. And it's like, no, it's Nike trying to sell you shoes, you moron. What are you talking about? Like, this is so obvious. Why would you even think of along those lines? Because people liked Nike shoes, and there was Air Jordans at the time as well, and all kinds of athletes that were being sponsored by Nike to sell their shoes. That's all it was. It wasn't that Bo Jackson is taking a hold of his life, and no, he's a professional athlete. He does whatever he wants.
And thanks for Minimundos for reminding of the obvious, because I skipped over that. This is a cult of Kali, the goddess of death in the trinity of the Hindu gods.
Shiva is the one of destruction, right?
Aren't they the same?
There's
Hindu stuff confuses me to this day.
There's so many Hindu gods, and they're super powerful. Like, if you talk about the various religions of the world and the pantheons, the Indian Hindu gods are like, they just create universes, and
So the main trinity is Vishnu, who creates, Brahma, who sustains, who keeps. That's the state of the equivalent to what keeps the kingdom going, as the Petersons say. And Kali is the destruction, that the death that thus makes room for more creation, for new things. So Kali is not inherently evil. It's a necessary force of the cycle of life. And all these three are aspects of one God. So that they are basically, all three are one. So it's a trinity. But I don't remember what the one God is called in Hinduism, and I don't think it's worshipped, because the aspects are worshipped because they actually act out.
Cool stuff. It is a fascinating subject to study, world religions, but again, it's not going to be depicted properly, and I don't think people are going to be assessing the depiction of religion as realistic or believable, because everyone knows this is just for fun.
Oh, it's always easy to just slightly misinterpret something, especially when you don't have the internet to correct you about the misinformation and the fake news and whatever you call it today or tomorrow. So you just twist a few things slightly and instantly you get your special cult with human sacrifice. It's not that hard to make.
Okay, there we go.
You can only argue that it falls into the whole white savior trope, but this is Indiana Jones we're talking about, and if you don't have a problem with him saving the day from the Nazis, I don't think it should be a problem for him to save the day from cultist Hindus either. Honestly, sometimes...
Was the it's a good question. Was the Americans beating the Nazis white savior stuff?
You could argue that they liked those films better because the opponents were Nazis, but that's one element.
Because then Whitey fights Whitey?
I guess, because it's America did it, you know? They helped win the Second World War. But that's just one element of
but the Americans are the bad guys because that's slavery. So how could they beat the Nazis? Because then how can they be heroes? Because they were bad guys.
That wasn't the case at the time. Like they didn't really think about it too much. It was only after the 2000s that it got very popular and off the hook.
Okay.
Rails.
Sometimes Temple of Doom critics don't really remember Raiders as well as they think. Oh, the villains are campy. Really? Did you forget about this guy?
Good evening, Fräulein.
The bar's closed.
We are not thirsty.
Some of the special effects look really bad. What, like Raiders didn't have that problem as well? Well, all the bad guys are just negative stereotypes. Because this is such a loving portrait of the German people. Well, it's too dark.
Isn't it the SS, not the German people, specifically?
Well,
did he say German?
But you
people?
can only be in the SS if you are German.
Oh God!
You know they had honorary this and that.
Yeah, like Japanese.
Don't you know about the special SS company that was comprised of Muslims?
Really?
To hunt Jews in the Balkans, I think.
Yeah, there were even Jews in the Nazis. Yeah, I know about those.
Honorary Aryans.
Jeez.
Like Hitler. Hitler was an honorary Aryan, basically.
Oh God.
They just didn't talk about it.
Why does he look so different than what he's depicting? I don't know.
Yeah. So because I was distracted for a second. Did he say German people?
Yeah.
Yes. He
what a
German
racist.
Well, no, he's saying that others are saying that, not him.
Uh-huh.
Like he
what
said,
racist?
Is this a good depiction of the German people? Of course not.
Well, that's the thing.
It's a good depiction of Nazis.
You want a caricature of a Nazi, and you want him to be like this uber evil, sinister fellow. It's like, yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
I wouldn't say it's a caricature actually, because Belloc comes off as a very realistic character.
Ooh, okay.
I mean, communism isn't that long ago in where I grew up. My family has experience with the Stasi, and they weren't acting much different than Belloc. No joke. Belloc is a very realistic character. It's not a caricature.
Interesting.
It's not enough.
We are going to die.
I beg to differ.
That was funny. the technically, it depends. It depends. Like if the bugs gross you out, it's probably not that fun. It's more horror.
Yeah.
But technically, the bug scenes and all these trap scenes here, as tense as they are played with so much humor. And Indy is so pissed off at this woman being so bloody dumb.
Yeah, but even
because I think she was even the fault as to why the trap was triggered.
Oh, there's a bunch of traps in that. Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Even the ending to Raiders was like this moment of like, close your eyes, don't look at it, it's gonna gross you out, and you watch it, you're like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, but if you look, it kills you.
Yeah, but that's the thing. All the evil dudes get their comeuppance, and the smart guys stay alive. Oh, okay. Cool.
I looked away when I was a kid. I didn't know what happened, and I was like, okay, why is everyone dead?
Yeah, that's what happened my first time I saw it. All my friends were like, "No, watch it. It's gross." Like, what? Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, it was type of childhood time when it was like, oh, when it happens, like the movie magic, that it does kill you too, then because it's magic. It's like the Santa is real stuff.
Oh yes, yeah, say what
so
was
that time of childhood.
That time of year, yeah. Well, that time of behavior for people to say all these silly things like "don't go at night" or say someone's name in the mirror 3 times over or something like that. All those silly superstitions, yeah. So, yay!
It's beautiful. It's the scene with the with the what do you call that? The yellow blow-up boat thing that Indy rides down the mountain, the snow.
Oh, that one. Oh, jeez.
It's hilarious. It's an amazing action scene that's also comedic, but it's played straight. It's played serious, and that's why the tension is high. But it's also a bit lighthearted because it's everyone's on, oh my god, we're gonna die. That's why it works. It's played straight. This kind of stuff today in action movies is almost never played straight anymore, as far as I can tell.
That's probably the most ridiculous scene out of... Like, people think the fridge was the most ridiculous in the fourth film?
It is.
Yes.
I would say it is. The boat was awesome. That was just fun because it's truly improvised.
It is fun.
The fridge is not gonna the fridge is not gonna block you from a nuclear explosion and radiation. But you could
There's
you
even
could
like a New
survive.
Vegas joke Easter egg there. But
you could survive snowboarding down the mountain.
Well, just watch the scene again and see what you mean. It's pretty ridiculous, but we'll do it later. It's okay. Anyway.
I'm not saying like Temple of Doom as much as Raiders of the Lost Ark, but I think that if you consider it to be a bad movie, you should probably reassess why you think Raiders is such a good movie. Both have great humor, great action, over-the-top villains, and supernatural twists on old world mythology, with incredible photography and music, and our beloved...
Wait, old world mythology? Are you calling the Hindus old world mythology? That's still an active religion, which with I think they're in second place at the moment of worshippers worldwide.
Okay, he means any kind of mythos to religion, I guess. So,
Hinduism is a religion. It's not just gone into mythos. Like, there's barely anyone worshipping the Norse gods left.
Oh, I see.
Or the Greek gods. It's basically there are a few people, but it's basically mythos at this point.
I guess you could say the Dark Ages were old world, but how old are you going? So,
well, the Dark Ages were mostly Celtic. When the barrel was invented and such.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, what the world he means refers to old world, which could be tens of thousands of years ago when these religions were created.
I thought the old world was Europe. Now it's India.
Well, it has to be. He's referring to India.
What do words mean?
There could be an old world in India. We're just not familiar with the term.
Like, how are people complaining about racism, but they can't even get these things right?
Oh.
And insult one of the biggest religions on the planet by calling it just old world mythology.
All right.
Very respectful.
But here a non-stop thrill ride. What's not to love? But with the film receiving so much backlash, they decided to play it safe with The Last Crusade by basically rehashing everything that worked in Raiders, with the beloved sidekicks, the Nazis searching for another Christian artifact in the desert, but this time with a twist. His dad is along for the adventure.
Junior? Yes, sir.
The Last Crusade is a great...
Wait, another Christian artifact? My God, what's the English name?
The Lost Ark wasn't
the Lost Ark
Christian. I think it was Hebrew.
Yeah, that's a Judaic artifact. Just like the menorah and the table. I keep forgetting the name of.
Covenant? Ark?
No, the Ark of the Covenant is the as we call it in German, the the federal load.
Okay.
I'm not kidding.
You said what? What is
The
that?
Bundeslade. It's the federal load.
Oh,
The Shalom.
But the Grail, like that's from the, you could say, the transition period between Judaism and Christianity.
well, the New Testament at least.
But you can but it's more Christian than Hebrew,
Right.
while the Ark of the Covenant is definitely Hebrew. And like, dude, get your religion stuff right. You're insulting to people.
Great Indiana Jones film, don't get me wrong, but it feels like a retread to me, and I would have loved to see the franchise follow its original episodic intentions. For instance, one of the original story outlines for the third film involved a haunted mansion, to give you an idea of the sort of campy adventures that they were originally going
It's not
for.
haunted.
And this is why
Yeah, that idea was terrible. I saw it in the Plinkett review, where Mike's the class cutting like a lot of clips of George Lucas explaining his ideas. And it would have included like those typical vampires and other like cliche shit.
Oh boy.
It's like, thank God that like Steven Spielberg decided to like take over most of the movie instead. Like, you can definitely see like the George Lucas touch on the movie, but like George Lucas only works in limited doses. If you unleash him, then you get garbage.
What about what was it? THX 1138?
Yeah.
I think that was before even like
Wasn't that
was
like Star Wars.
That was his first.
Student film?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it was between. Yeah, I think it was like after that he did American Graffiti or something like that.
But THX 1138, that was amazing.
It was very different.
I love that movie.
It was certainly when you think of like science fiction of the 70s.
It's one of the dystopian movies you should watch, definitely.
Yeah, it's.
I don't know which one. What it's based. Is it based on something, or did he cram that together himself?
I don't know where he got that, but when you're looking at like pictures of space stations, you get that vibe that he wanted to do something along those lines, but not as big. And you don't really know the scope of this city or this world. You know, there's people and they're all over the place.
Yeah, but it's basically a fallout shelter, but with thousands of people in the vault.
And you're not sure if it's on Mars or the moon. Like, you don't know where the hell this is. And the guy
looks pretty much like post-apocalyptic Earth.
Right.
That's why
right.
I thought it's like this is decades before the Fallout games, and it's basically a Vault-Tec thing, but with thousands of people.
That's one way of putting it. And he gets like right at the end. He gets right out of the thing. He finally escapes after all that time, and that's the whole point. He just wants to be free. He doesn't want to live. He doesn't want to, be under their control. He just wants to be free for as long as he can. And you see,
but then he realizes the world is a wasteland. There is nothing.
There's nothing, but that
freedom in this case does mean death.
Yeah, but that is the whole point of his journey: is to get out and be free of those people trying to control him. Mm-hmm. So even if he's going to die in about 20 seconds, the film just ends. You're like, that's it. That's exactly it. That's exactly where you should end the film. So I thought that was.
It's just watch that movie. Watch THX 1138, please.
Out of all
that is the good side of George Lucas.
Out of all
the man is capable.
These 70s and like the B movies of the 70s of sci-fi, that is probably the one that is. It doesn't make you think too much, but it makes you go, oh, that's cool. It doesn't have to be amazingly action-packed, and it's not.
It's just looking in dystopian society like 1984 would be.
It's along those lines without being as horrific, yeah.
I would just say rather it's just differently horrific. There's less internal monologue and such that explains what's going on. It's more it's a lot show don't tell, I would say. As I remember it, I only watched it once.
Obviously, there's a totalitarian-esque vibe with all the security guards.
Everything is great,
and the drugs and the shaving of the heads, like all that is sort of like you're part of this hive collective.
And if you fuck up, if you turn out defective, then That's just a new clone made from your genetic material, from the vial that's labeled after your name, which is a number.
Yeah, the anti-human serum that kills you or all your humanity as you inject it into your body since you're a baby.
Yeah, it's like and so THX 1138 is the name of the protagonist. Just so that's the one spoiler I'll give to maybe get some people interested.
That's where I was like thinking of the Ayn Rand novel. She made that stupid sci-fi book about a bunch of people named after numbers and this and that. Can't remember what it was called.
Well, it's not that wrong because in the end, to the government, our names are irrelevant. Look, in Germany, for decades, we have a state ID. Everybody has to have one. You're legally required. And they keep increasing the costs for these bloody things and putting up more and more stupid bullshit on it. Like, at this point, now it's, if you get a new one, if you get it renewed, it is mandatory that you give your fingerprints for security reasons. And have biometric photographs on it that look like ass, that look worse like mugshots. And so on and so on. And, of course, every citizen has a state ID. That's on your state ID. That's the number. You are that number in the system. You're not a name. You are a number in Germany. It's already the case. It's just a very long number. THX for 1138 is something you can still remember. But it is technically that. We live in that world.
Yeah, the stuff in Anthem was like... the name was Equality 7-2521. You're like, okay, thanks, Ein. It's a great name.
Yeah, and Dr. Chrisman, no, it's not a social security number. It's the national ID. There are also other numbers like our tax ID. That's another one. But the national ID that is your actual designation, if you will, that the state gives you.
All right. Anyway, let's keep going.
It's horrible.
Crystal seemed to come out of nowhere for most fans, but for the true die-hard indie fans, it made perfect sense. If the originals paid homage to the adventure serials of the 1930s, and if you have to move the timeline forward to account for Harrison's age, then it seems like a no-brainer to pay homage to the adventure B-movies of the 1950s, where it was all about the Red Menace, usually interpreted through a Martian invasion of some kind. And just like the other three films, it relies on real-world politics and mythology. The Russians were interested in exploring mind control possibilities, and theories of ancient aliens contributing to highly advanced old-world civilizations have been around for centuries. So it carries on the tradition of honoring adventure serials of their respective time period, while still allowing for the globe-trotting, treasure-hunting adventure that we've come to expect from Indiana Jones, complete with the humor and the action set pieces that have become trademarks of the series.
Damn, I thought that was closer.
That was horrible. Those were horrible noises.
Obviously, I'm with most fans in thinking that a few scenes took things too far, and there are enough flaws to hold the film back from being truly great. I think it was ill-advised to break tradition by starting the movie with a bunch of random teenagers instead of Indy. I think Mutt was underdeveloped and doesn't contribute much to the story.
Yes, you need the opening Indiana Jones mini-adventure, where he gets an artifact from someone. Whether it be in the literal cave, as in the first movie, or with the nightclub scene in the second one. What was it in Last Crusade? What was the opening scene? The opening adventure?
Oh, jeez, I don't remember.
Neither do I.
Damn.
But really, Harrison Ford was the relic in the fourth movie.
Yeah, Shia wasn't... I don't think he was used properly. I don't think he really shined as a character much.
Oh.
There was it was a lame sort of meh kind of story, and you're like, all right, whatever. But there was too much goofy stuff in there that really showed that the swinging with the monkeys, the fighting with the saber, all the things with the truck. I like the truck stuff. That's kind of cool, but it's still kind of goofy. So it didn't quite land very well, not because we didn't like Indiana Jones films, just because it wasn't very well thought out. So I guess he's trying to defend it. I'm like, there's not much to say about it. You could defend the second film. There's all kinds of great set pieces, great action.
It's the energy is missing there. Like it's trying to be there, but in the end, it's just not.
Yeah, it's
like he's sitting too long in that other truck in front.
There's nothing really. I can't remember exact set piece in the fourth film that was like, wow, that was cool. That was a really great scene. Whereas the second film, you have the temple, you have the chase scenes, you have the plane, you have all kinds of other action going on. And only in the fourth one, you have that car chase. You have actually a few car chases. So it's just a bunch of car chases and scenes of people waiting for this skull thing to bring this alien back to life so it could blow up a temple, and then it goes away. You're like, what?
Yes, and that was a scene.
And Chad reminds that the opening adventure in Last Crusade was young Indy getting the cross with Donovan.
And his hat.
Yeah. Isn't that also where his fear of snakes is established? Or did he already have that?
First one. Yeah, the first one.
Oh no, he did get that as a kid when on an adventure he fell into a snake pit.
All right, cool.
Other than man jokes and justifying Marion returning to the franchise, I think they should have toned down the CG quite a bit. It seems like the magnetic power of the skull changes every single time it's on screen, and all in all, it just doesn't quite hold up to the other three. But in spite of all of that, I still think it's a really fun movie. Many of the action set pieces were incredibly satisfying. I found a lot of the humor to be thoroughly enjoyable. I loved most of the new characters they introduced, and Harrison Ford is undeniably excellent, as always, despite his old age. And it still feels like it has all of the staples that made the other three films so great. I definitely think it's the weakest of the four, but to be fair, that's some pretty stiff competition. And when the series was in hibernation for 20 years, it's only natural for it to suffer from all of that time waiting.
That's a pretty weak argument, saying, well, the other ones are so good, this one just doesn't compare. All you had to do...
This means you didn't try.
Yeah, like, just don't do stupid shit. Have the same tropes, have the same... I don't know. It doesn't have to be a crystal skull, it could be anything. But don't do stupid shit. Don't have monkeys flying from jungle ropes and outrunning cars. That's silly.
Don't detonate an atomic bomb and have Harrison Ford hide in a fridge.
That's silly.
Stay grounded enough. Don't go super cartoonish. The thing why indie movies worked was because they were, even when they did these extreme things like the minecart chase, like the sliding down the mountain in the emergency boat, it was still grounded and realistic enough. It was not super cartoonish. And the magic part, I think that's what it did. The indie movies did best, is that this is our world, but there is magic in it. But it is so hidden that nobody ever comes across it. It's indie who does.
Which is part of the mythos of
opening the Ark of the Covenant.
Exactly.
The brainwashing magic cult with the posing heart, and of course the old knight in the Last Crusade, that he was still alive. He was from the Crusades.
Yeah, what's the magic of the third film? Just water in a cup. There's nothing explosive about it. The most magical thing, I guess, would be the Ark of the Covenant.
The fur trap, the invisible walkway.
Well, that was cute, but it wasn't over the top.
It was the knight still being alive for centuries because he knew from which cup to drink.
Yeah,
and the cup itself.
The invisible.
That was the magic.
The invisible bridge, stuff like that is like, okay, you don't need to do stupid, crazy, over the top magical crap.
Yeah, but it's only these three items, and they are at the very end of the movie.
Right,
after taking the cup beyond the seal, you have it triggers the earthquake.
Yeah, but
that's the only things that happen. They're very low level. They're not like big things explode. They're not even on the level of the first movie where the Ark of the Covenant is opened and all these demon things fly out. It's extremely grounded with barely any special effects.
And that's why
it's believable magic.
When you compare it to the fourth film, it's like this transforming skull which brings an alien back to life who then gets into a spaceship or something and blows up a temple, and you're just like, whoa, what is that about? And you don't know what it means. You don't know why it happened, what the mystery was. It's just this scene that everything's going to get a MacGuffin, to get another MacGuffin, so something blows up. It
just means the Anunnaki are assholes. It's just anti-Anunnaki propaganda.
Whereas the third film was like, oh, it's the Cup of Christ. This is a big sacred temple. No one knows about it. It's in the middle of nowhere. Great, fantastic. Ark of the Covenant, no one knows where it is. There's all this big mystery. We have no clue. It's that sort of idea to work with these mystical elements or these mystical artifacts that people have been looking for or have heard of, stories of, and they're part of our mysterious, what we call the, not the shadow self, but the collective unconsciousness, if you want to talk about Jungian concepts. That's like, what really was the Ark of the Covenant? What is the Cup of Christ? What was that all about? So we have this intrinsic understanding or interest, as opposed to, let's say, a cult of death worshippers or an alien being. I mean, aliens is a huge topic, but to have it in an archaeological context is creative, but doesn't quite fit too well. It's kind of hard. It's usually in the realm of conspiracy theories and governments and stuff like that, not ancient temples and ancient relics. It doesn't quite fit in that domain. So it felt off from the start for me. And bringing back an old female character who had a kid, it's like, oh, we're doing the old flame thing and they're going to get married? Oh, dear. An element that didn't really work too well, I thought. Anyway.
I think that all four Indiana Jones films have something different to offer. They're all fun and exciting in their own way. And I think that if you can watch Temple of Doom or Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, again, understanding that they're campy on purpose, cliche by design, just like the rest of the series, I think you can appreciate them more for what they are. Not masterful works of art, but pure popcorn fun with our favorite archaeologist. This video...
Oh, God.
That's it? Wow.
That's it? Oh, God.
Awesome.
That's sad. So it was this very, very low-level apologia of, please change your mind because I like it.
Yeah. The basic thing is the verisimilitude of the fourth film was not very strong. You did not believe a lot of the scenes. It took you out of the film, and you're going, this is goofy, this is silly, this could not happen in the way it did. Whereas when you see a cart scene on rails, you see Indy trying to survive I still think it's pretty silly, the yellow boat scene. It's fun, though. It's like, okay, you could technically possibly survive in a boat. Maybe not.
You just need something to slide down on that doesn't break your legs immediately.
It doesn't pop the boat, yeah. Maybe. But
like, dude, the idea of snowboarding is bloody insane.
Sure.
So why not use a yellow rubber boat?
It's a little different, but sure. Okay.
Like, seriously.
All right.
It's all insane.
Let's read some super chats and donations. Here we go. Temple is a sequel remake of Gunga Din. Same city, villains, plot beats, and ending. The British colonel even recounts the events of Gunga Din at lunch. I did not know that. Gunga Din's probably a very old book or story. I don't know.
Never heard of it.
I have. I just don't know how old. And I'm assuming it's from like the 30s or 40s maybe. But I've heard of it. So thank you, Copperell. Spud, let me on. No, it's okay. We'll talk to you later. It's okay. We'll have a specific cast just for you. If you got your topics, we'll find a video for you. Vladimir Dragunov. I remember when I was little and thinking there was an actual island chain filled with dinosaurs.
Awesome.
Are we talking about Jurassic Park or are we talking about something else?
Oh, I think he talks about Jurassic Park.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
I was as a kid. I would say do not watch Sphere.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh man. That's a good tension movie.
All right. Fair enough. Kilgray's hideout. The aliens made Crystal Skull more grounded in reality and science. If you accept magic gods, then aliens should be no-brainer. Okay.
Yeah, depends.
It didn't really
depends on how you put it in. Is the thing.
Yeah, it didn't quite connect the dots for me very well, unfortunately. So you have to.
It's just like the other three movies are really not going with that argument. So
yeah,
like, how do you have like the Crusader still alive and having like a magic?
Yeah, the thing is
antidote in that.
When you have the moment you introduce aliens, it calls all the magic stuff into question. That it's just, if those are aliens, then they have super tech, so all the other magic is all super tech. And that's that messes with things.
It felt out of place. And
completely out of place.
They were trying to do a Raiders sort of ending, and you're like, that didn't quite hit home very well, at least for me.
Yeah, I mean, that was the great thing about Temple of Doom. It didn't have the Raiders ending. It was just amazing action scenes.
Yeah.
Like maybe the communist movement finally becoming like so smart, she realized that her entire religion is failed. Like she just couldn't live with that and exploded.
Body's melted.
Oh God, yeah. What has become of the humans? We screwed up.
All right. Last
Enki,
one,
back to the drawing board.
Last one from the Copper Owl. Commie mind control is equal to American academic system in CMM. Okay.
Not wrong.
Interesting. All right. Let's see if we got any stream memes. I don't know what you guys been up to. Who knows what we're expecting. Okay.
Yes.
We have a few. All right. Let's load them up. Okay. I don't know what's happening here, but thank you for the gif of someone bending a spoon.
I think it was from yesterday about bending.
Why is... Oh, jeez. This is... What is this, South Park?
Oh, it's the South Park episode with George Lucas, yeah.
What is happening? Holy jeez.
They're trying to rape Indy.
Oh, my God.
Rape Indy. Like this came out around the time when they made the Crystal Skull.
Oh, jeez. I miss when the series was as far as they took the IP after the trilogy. Oh, I remember this.
Yes.
This was a TV show.
Yeah, I saw a few episodes of it. It didn't stick with me as a kid.
I tried watching and I was like, that was different.
They had the snake pit scene in that traumatized Indy though, but I've read it in the book to Last Crusade. Had that scene actually in the book because it's there that he gets that when he gets the cross from Donovan, I think. Memories
Michael
coming
Eisner? Okay. Cover your heart. Kalima!
He's too fast.
He betrayed the shareholders. Oh. Clunk. All right. Jeez. Teacher asked me to bring something for show and tell, so I brought the Ark of the Covenant. They did not see that coming. Oh. Yeah, Jones, grab on to this.
That's just stupid. That's a stupid play on the whole snake trauma thing.
I can't believe they did that.
It's dumb. Yeah.
In this version, the word Wookiee has been changed to hair-challenged animal, and the entire cast has been digitally replaced by Ewoks.
Oh dear.
Oh.
Thank you, South Park.
And this is... I don't know what the hell I'm looking at.
I think that's a Lego movie.
Did it turn into a...
And it's the Ark of the Covenant scene with everyone dancing.
Why are they dancing?
Because the Ark of the Covenant is open.
Oh my god.
I don't know. I've not seen that.
Can you imagine turning your movie into a musical or a dance music or whatever this hell this is?
That is more horrifying than the actual Covenant.
Yeah, this is really... Oh my god.
Yeah, that's terrifying for us.
Can you imagine that happens to the Nazis? You're like, oh god, stop it. Anyway.
They dance like horrible Americans.
What is this? Boys, we got them. What? Spielberg and Lucas, they were raping a stormtrooper when the police broke in and they found the dead raped bodies of Yoda and Short Round in their closet. They'll never be free to do this again. The boys gather around the officers. So what now? Do you think things can ever go back to normal after this? What do? We live. That's what Indy would have wanted. We just try to live. Thank you, South Park. Holy jeez. Lady only here because she's banging director. Okay.
That might be an explanation for Kennedy.
Is that the Short Round joke that Stewie's doing? Okay. Best line in the movie. Prepare to meet Kali in hell.
I like that.
Hey, Ganesha, want a peanut? Please do not offer my god a peanut.
Great scene.
Jeez. Now you will give me back the diamond for the antidote to the poison you just drank. I don't know what's going on, but I've lost the plot of what's this scene.
I think that's a reenactment of the nightclub scene. Why do I keep forgetting the word nightclub? With all these. Why did you get all these Indiana Jones props, like the idol and stuff? Like,
jeez,
damn.
Okay.
You even have a golden gong.
Oh jeez.
Wow.
I was wondering what that was.
Amazing.
I am not a number. Oh, I am a person. Who is number one? Yeah, okay. Guys don't know that? That's a classic 70s. Was it 70s or 60s? The Prisoner. Great show. How do you feel about minifigs coming in box soon? But it's all somehow familiar. Stay close, shorty. Jeez. Interesting. What are you waiting for? How old is that meme? That must be like when memes started. Last one, Gunga Din. Oh yeah, Cary Grant. Oh, it was a film. Okay, cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've heard it. I just never watched it. One more, and that is the... Oh.
That's just bad CGI stuff.
Is that the commie blowing up or whatever happened?
I don't know. It's just flowy stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that ending was weird. I just like, okay, whatever. Thanks, Phil. Stuff happened.
Yeah, if you're looking for something more lighthearted, there was a could say light comedy mystery show made that took inspiration from the big warehouse in Indiana Jones. It's called Warehouse 13. Has a couple seasons, and is basically about a very, very secret part of the government that looks for artifacts and tries to put them into the warehouse, where they even have to feng shui them all out so that they don't have weird magical interactions with each other, so they all sit in the right places. And that's a lot. It tries to build a lot of interesting lore, and it does some really contrived, stupid stuff. But it's mainly a comedy show. And I can generally recommend it.
All right, here's a tip from Kilgris again. I guess I must miss this. A quick question: how long has it been since everyone here last saw Crystal Skull? It might hold up better on a rewatch than you might think. I
What was that?
When was the last time we watched The Crystal Skull? I can't remember.
I didn't watch Crystal Skull. I just saw horrible scenes.
Yeah, I did watch it, but this was like at least 15 years ago. I don't... Like, it was so... Like, I remember the scenes that just stuck out to me, which were the truck scenes and the swinging and the fencing and the explosion at the end. It didn't make any sense. I was like, what was that about? So, yeah, a lot of questions I just did not like from that film. And Vladimir Dragunov, thanks for the 5. Imagine the ARC graphical turned the National Socialist into Lego minifigs.
No.
Lego minifigs?
Figurines.
Oh, I was thinking like Fig Newtons or something. What the hell's
No.
Anyway, that's a weird idea, but as long as it's not a dance routine with music, I'm okay.
Yeah, just watch Warehouse 13 instead.
Yeah, I don't know. This guy obviously loves the films for what they're worth and enjoyed them a lot more in that context. I don't think I would give that leeway to the fourth film. The fourth film is really, if you just did not have those errors and you made some sense of what the heck was going on with the skull in the first place, as opposed to a big mystery, no one knows, and then it just blows up and goes away, you're like, that's stupid. I wanted more to make sense of stuff. Like the third film or the first film was like, okay, they seal it away in a government building and no one remembers what happened to it. Like that's sort of, and you see all the boxes in this giant warehouse, they're all labeled whatever. So it's just like that makes sense. No one has ever heard of it ever again. That I like. Third film, giant earthquake destroys the temple. We lose the cup. Done. Second film, I don't recall exactly what happened, but everyone dies. So stuff like that is like good. That ties stuff up. With the fourth film, it just like, I don't know who these people were. I don't know what they were trying to go for. They had no clue what the thing could do. And it blows up and it disappears. And you're like, that's silly. That's just silly. So anyway, I don't know. I think the next film is going to be even worse, but I have not analyzed the trailer. I have watched it once and I thought, oh God, that's not going to work. And it's going to disappoint a lot of people.
They should just let it die. Just go and like make a new franchise. But that's impossible in modern Hollywood. You just gotta rape it until it's gone.
Yeah, new things cannot be made.
Well, don't use
only the old things can
I think soon they can't use Harrison Ford.
Yeah, this is kind of like the.
They'll just AI him in.
Yeah, this is like the episode 8 sort of problem. Like Luke can't really do too much action. He's an old man, and he's like, okay, what can he do? Oh, he'll fake it. Like, oh, cool. How does he? Oh, that's not good.
You wouldn't have needed to. I mean, look at what not Christopher Lee. Was it Christopher Lee? I always mix these old people up. Dooku?
Prequels?
That is Christopher Lee.
Okay, Christopher Lee. Like he didn't do too much big stuff either.
Oh yeah, but he was a fencing sort of guy. Like, that was his thing. So it made sense for him to design a lightsaber that was along his style. It wasn't too acrobatic. He wasn't doing flips. Well, he did do a few flips. It wasn't him probably, but it was like, all right, old guy, tall.
If you take old Luke, I don't think you need to do that either. He can just do the Yoda role properly. Just give him a proper Jedi temple as it was intended originally.
Well, with Harrison, he's expected to do all these, bullwhip swings and fight scenes.
I think that's the point where they instead should have honestly gone with a fair idea of passing the torch with his kid, like where Indy does some of the stunts in the beginning, but it really wears on him, and his kid has this knack of also getting into these situations and somehow getting out of them, and Indy sees that and thinks, damn kid, I worry you die, but bloody hell, I did this all the time. It seems to run in the family. Like you earned this.
The one thing I would want to see, even though probably people would hate this, is they bring his dad back because he drank from the cup of Christ, so he's technically has a lease on life. So I would like to see that. Maybe a CGI.
Technically, Indy has that.
Yeah, Indy too. Yeah, so like a Sean Connery CGI thing going. I'm sure you can get someone to do the voice perfectly. He's not hard to do, and as well as Indiana, of course. That would be like a little member berry. I'm like that. Okay, just to see what they can do with it. It could be garbage, but I would go watch it just for that to see what they do with Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Thanks, son, for making me live 200 years.
Now I'm immortal.
At least only in 500 years, I need another drink from that cup.
Yeah,
in what chasm did you throw that again?
Yeah, then we'd have like a Highlander reference for the jokes. It would be great. I'd love it.
Ah, that's how that's how I became Ramirez.
Oh God, that'd be fun. Anyway, thanks guys. Have yourself a great evening. I think the Indiana Jones films are great. I think the fourth one's kind of bad, but each their own. I
always consider it a trilogy, and the TV show is hit and miss, mostly miss, but yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. Thank you so much. Have yourself a great evening. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.